Hello and welcome to the Top 3 Channel. Top 3 Channel is brought to you by HopeLify.org to inspire you to become the very best that you are designed to be. A few simple keys, mastered and consistently applied, are all you need to excel in each area of life. Hit the subscribe button to receive more Top 3 videos. Enjoy!
The word is focus. Glad you're here. What I discovered about focusing in on a goal or something you want to accomplish is that the moment that you focus in on what you want to do, that's when you begin to have energy to do it. A distracted person lacks energy. And when they get to the thing they need to be focusing in on, they don't have the energy to give. But when a person says, no, this is the one thing I'm going to do, and they set their mind to it, they set their eyes on it, they set their hand to do it, all of a sudden energy begins to fill their life. Why? Because what you focus on, what you concentrate on, what you desire to accomplish, once your eyes are fixed on that, it begins to energize you and you begin to see the possibility of making it happen. So, what's your target? What's your goal? Whatever it is, focus. Trust me, the energy will come.
People always complain that, why can't I ever get that? And these people complain, I can never get a job. You're going to be stressed no matter what. Focus on the thing that you're getting, because that's the choice you made, right? I'd much rather you focus on the thing you are pursuing rather than the thing you're missing. And so this idea of affirmative thinking, positive thinking, is essential for all people, but I think it's especially essential for artists. And there's a very, very simple biological reason for it, which is the human brain cannot comprehend the negative. It is incapable. Yes, it's true. I'll give you an example. Okay? No, I'll give you an example. You don't have to believe me. I'll prove it. Okay? The human brain cannot comprehend the negative. You ready? Don't think of an elephant. Yeah, I know. You can't tell the human brain not to do something, right? And so what happens is we very often reinforce things when we put things in the negative, right? I can't get apart. I can't get apart. Right? Or I can't do this. Versus I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this. Right? And it's such a huge thing to convert things into the affirmative. You're supposed to do it with children as well. We're supposed to say, instead of saying to children, don't eat on the couch, we're supposed to say, eat at the table. Right? We tell people what we want them to do, not what we don't want to do. Pilots know this, right? It is well known in the pilot community that when you tell a pilot, don't hit the obstacle, they'll hit the obstacle. Because what they're doing is focusing on the obstacle.
I got on a plane one time, a number of years ago, and I was sitting first aisle, right on the aisle. First row on the aisle. There was a man sitting behind me against the window. So we were sort of kitty-cornered to each other. We were only on the plane a short period of time. He reached over and tapped me on the shoulder. He said, I think you could help me. He said, I'm a pro golfer. And he said, I love the secret. Anyway, one thing led to another. He was on his way to the FedEx in New York, I believe it was. And after a day or so, he missed the cut. But we had exchanged phone numbers, and he phoned me. I said, listen, I'm in Toronto, you're in New York, jump on a plane, come on up here for a couple of days. So he came up and we got talking, and we became friends. And I went out on tour with him one time, one of the tournaments he was on. And that night, we were sitting around the motel room, and he said, Bob, what's one thing I could do that would make me a better golfer? I took my pen, and I went over and I put a little black dot on the wall. I said, I want you to focus on that black dot. Bring all of your conscious attention to bear it on the black dot. I said, the second your mind wanders, don't feel bad, bring it back to the dot. And I said, when you learn to focus on that dot for a minute, 2 minutes, you will have developed a mental faculty to a greater degree than probably anyone in your family has ever known. It's the will. The will is one of our higher faculties. We have perception, memory, intuition, reason, and we have the will. The will to the mind is not like hearing or sight is to the body. All great golfers, all the really great golfers, have highly evolved will. They have developed the ability to focus. Now you might not want to put a dot on the wall. Light a candle and put it opposite your favorite chair. And then just focus on the flame. Every time your mind wanders from the flame, don't feel bad, bring it right back and focus on the flame. When you learn to focus on one thing, you can focus on anything because what you're doing is developing a mental faculty. Now the average individual can only focus on a thing for 1 or 2 or 3 seconds, and then they're distracted. There's a noise, a light, something flashes, somebody says something, and like that, their mind is taken off track. People that are great at whatever they do have learned how to focus on what they're doing. All great salespeople are focused. Do you want to improve what you're doing? Learn how to focus on one thing to the exclusion of all outside distraction. Then this power that comes into our consciousness, we send it back out into the universe like a laser focused on one thing. It'll manifest in your life. It's the way the mind works.
Everyone in this room knows how to create. You're not a manager of your life, you're a creator of your life, or you wouldn't be in this room. How do you create your life? You get hungry for something, don't you? Who has done something in your life that once seemed difficult or impossible, and now it's part of your life? Who's got something in your life in this area? Say I. How did you do it? You created it 3 ways. Number 1, you decided there's something you wanted so bad that you unleashed all your desire. You became obsessed with it. If it was a business or a car or a relationship or a transformation in your body, if there's something you once envisioned and now it's real, it's because you didn't just envision it, you brought so much emotion to it that now it's in your life. It was once a dream, it was once a goal, and now it's in your life. How many have something like that in your life now? Say I. You may take it for granted now, hopefully not, but it was once just a vision. It may have seemed impossible at one time. So how did you do it? You started with a concrete vision of what you wanted, and you focused on it continuously, didn't you? Wherever focus goes, energy flows. You envisioned something, you got clear about it, and then you started thinking about all the reasons why you wanted it. You got excited about it. Said, this is what's next for me now. I want this. You may have dreamed about it, thought about it, talked about it. But when you focus on something continuously, something magical happens. You get insights, don't you? You overhear a conversation and you hear something you wouldn't have heard if you didn't have that outcome or goal that you wanted so badly. Who's ever come up with something, obsessed about it, didn't even know how to do it, and it just happened and it came together? Who's had that experience? Say I. So why don't we tap into that power now for your business and life?
You wouldn't be in this room if you didn't have a vision. You wouldn't be in this room if you didn't have a vision. Worry about the vision more than the provision. I find that the provision comes to the vision. A lot of people ask for provision who have no vision, and money runs from blindness.
Money runs from blindness.
Yes, yeah, money runs from blindness. Money.
Bishop, you might need to unpack that one.
Okay.
For some.
If there is no purpose, there is no provision. And well, I'm not talking about physical blindness, I'm talking about blindness so far as career and future. Until you figure out, the first thing the bank wants to know is, what do you want to do? Anybody who's going to invest in you wants to hear, what do you see? What do you see? When Jesus healed the blind man and touched him the first time, he asked him, what do you see? Because his response is based on his answer. So the man said, I see men walking as trees. He said, I'm going to touch you again. Until I clear up your vision, we can't leave this spot. The first time I went to the bank, it was amazing. They wanted a 7-year projection of our company. And I thought, wow, I didn't know anything about business. I thought, what in the world do they want that for? I could write down anything. What they're really asking you is, have you thought through the future?
Right. That's right.
They're asking you, can you see? Because if you can see, we will fund what you see, provision. But if there is no vision, how can there be provision? So when we want something, ask God for provision. But you need to be asking for vision. Because if you get a clear vision and you're passionate about it, people support people, not ideas. So if you're not excited about it, why should I give to it?
Focus.
Focus, yeah.
I focus on everything. I mean, I focus on one thing at a time. Most of you are engaged in 2, 3, 4 different endeavors, and you're not doing any of them very well. Focus on one. And I never get into business. I'm not looking to exit. But by the way, I said it yesterday. For those of you, and I read some emails from a couple of you, you have a business 2 years ago, and now you're doing 250,000 or 260,000 euros in revenue. That's geometric growth. You started from zero 24 months ago. You're now doing 250,000 euros. That's geometric growth. But now, what did I say yesterday? You start playing not to lose instead of playing to win. Focus. I mean, it's a single key thing when you're an athlete. And I wasn't an athlete by any stretch of the imagination, but the world-class athletes I've had the privilege of working with, all the same thing, focus. If they're basketball players, and I had the pleasure of working with the Lakers back in their heyday, they wake up, they go to sleep with a basketball, literally. Footballers, they go to sleep, I mean, from the time they get up to the time they go to bed, that's all they think about is focus.
Well, the problem with some of our younger generation today, they just want to jump and see themselves up there, overnight. It doesn't really happen. What you need to do is to be very, very focused as a person and be dedicated to whatever that you are doing. It is not really good for you to now go and try something, then after a month you just say, no, it doesn't work. You jump into something else. I think you need to be very, very focused in what you are doing. Once you believe in what you are doing, you see, you should not take your either business or job as something that you must do. Okay, you must take it as it's part of your hobby. If it's part of your hobby, then you do it better.
Past 18 years, when I do internet in China, we got a criticism every day. Something where you believe it, a lot of people criticize it, but if you really believe, continue to do it, improve it. We were rejected by more than 30 venture capitalists, but we are very optimistic. We believe in the future. We believe in internet, and we believe that if we do not succeed, somebody will.
My seed, I worked really hard. I had one idea, and that was to do a play. All the other stuff came. My only idea, my only focus was to do my one play. And I knew if I could get that to work, everything else would come to pass. There's so many people who go in so many directions. This week they're doing this, and next week they're doing that, and next week they're doing this, and next week they're going to be in real estate, and the next week they're going to open a salon. And those kind of people are all over the place, and I usually try to get them to focus. Focus on one thing, one area. Put all of your energy into watering one area. If you spread the water across many, many seeds, you don't have as much water for one seed. So focus on one thing. Make it your priority and stick with it no matter what. No matter how many people told me no, no matter how many people lied to me, no matter how many times I put the show up and nobody came. I remember when I did my very first show, I worked my butt off and saved $12,000 tax returns from H&R Block money. I saved it, worked hard, saved it myself, rented the 14th Street Playhouse, put that show up, thought that 1,200 people would come over a weekend, and 30 showed up, and I knew every one of them. But I didn't stop. That didn't deter me. That was in 1992. 93, same thing happened. 94, 95, 96, 97, up until 1998. Same devastation, nobody showing up in the audience. I was doing one show a year, working with different promoters, trying to get the show up, and nobody showed up. But I didn't stop. And what I say to you now, looking at me now, here, I am a human being. There's no difference between my humanness and your humanness. The only thing is, if you're trying to get there, you cannot stop believing in any way. No matter what anybody says, No matter what anybody tells you, you have to know it beyond knowing it. And it is a feeling. When something is for you, this is how I knew it was for me. When something is for you, there's a feeling that is deep down inside of you that will not allow you to let it go. It will keep you going when you can't even keep yourself going. That's why the mantra here at the Tyler Perry Studios is a place where even dreams believe. Because there comes a time in your life where you've worked and you've stressed and you tried to get there and you couldn't on your own, but you have a dream. And that dream has to take on the belief for you because you can't do it by yourself. So what I would tell you is this: don't stop. Narrow your focus to one idea, and make it work. That will give birth to all the others.
Yeah, I always think that you should start with the problem that you're trying to solve in the world and not start with deciding that you want to build a company. Right? I mean, the best companies that get built are things that are trying to drive some kind of social change, even if it's just local in one place. More than starting out because you want to make a bunch of money or have a lot of people working for you or build some company in some way. So, I always think that this is kind of a perverse thing about Silicon Valley in a way, which is that, people decide often that they want to start a company before they even decide what they want to do. And that just feels really backwards to me. And, for anyone who's had the experience of actually building a company, you know that you go through some really hard things along the way. And I think part of what gets you through that is believing in what you're doing and knowing that what you're doing is really delivering a lot of value for people. And that's, I think, how the best companies end up getting made.
The piece of advice that I always give to somebody, whether it's an entrepreneur or somebody who wants to be the greatest parent of all time, what is your goal? You've got to start with your goal. Everything works backwards from that. Simon and I did a video that essentially broke the internet about millennials. Somebody watched it. What got Simon on the world stage is this whole concept of why. You've got to know why you're doing what you're doing. If you're just showing up every day to cut and dye hair, to keep your lights on, you're going to have far less energy to make it through the hard times than somebody who is there to help transform somebody, to help make somebody their best, to help them feel their best. And I hope that you guys saw that video not too long ago of the hairdresser that went around and he was doing makeovers on homeless people. Right? Man, it was incredible. It was so beautiful. The look on their face at that moment where they see themselves for the first time in front of the mirror and they are seeing something totally new. They're seeing a version of themselves that they did not know was there. And the ability to give that gift, like it is so easy to get lost in the day-to-day grind of what you do, what any of us do. But if at the core driving you is a deep and unending why for what you're doing, you've got something. Now you've got a chance to transcend what you're doing. And the way that happens is very tactical. It has nothing to do with like woo-woo being out there. It's none of that. You're gonna have the energy that you need to fight through.
I think that number one leadership quality is vision. Be able to create that vision, to have clarity of what the vision is, and then be able to communicate and articulate that vision to your team consistently on an ongoing basis. I think that's the most important thing. You notice lousy leaders, you ask them about what their vision is, it's usually very fuzzy, right? They say, oh yeah, we want to grow our business, or we want to grow our revenue. By how much? How? When? What does it look like, right? And how does each team member, how do they contribute to that vision? See, the team that is high performance, every single person on the team, they know how they play a part and being a part of that vision. So what I do all the time is I am selling my vision to my team all the time. Every single month when we have a big team meeting, I do that. Beginning a team meeting, here's a vision, saying the same thing again and again and again. Sometimes I would make the vision bigger. Sometimes I would pivot the steps of what we need to do. Or are we behind or are we ahead? But the vision is so critical. So what I do as a leader all the time, I'm thinking about where are we going? Where are we going? And how much clarity do I have for myself? How much clarity do I have for the company? How much clarity do I have for the team? So I think that's the number one leadership quality.
Whatever you focus your attention on expands, increases. So the reason why, you focus your attention on shopping, spending, you spend more, it gets bigger, it gets bigger. You focus your attention on your health and not on, if you focus your attention on a diet plan, talk to me about diet. I've got a PhD in dieting. But if you focus your attention on dieting, a diet, that's all you will want to do is eat. That's all you want to do is eat. If you set a day, I'm going to go on a diet, that's all you want to do. So if you focus your attention, I'm going to diet, and all you want to do is eat. But if you focus your attention on health, then you end up doing whatever you can to get yourself healthier.
What you focus on in life is what you get. This is a little Polaroid camera. Takes the cutest little pictures. Now look, I'm gonna get whatever I focus on. I can get this pretty lady right down here in the blue. Oops, there it is. Now this has to develop, like most things we focus on. You focus on trouble long enough, it will develop into more trouble. Amen? But if we focus on, let's see, who else can let's focus on Dave, because he sure is good looking. Amen. Woo! That Dave, I'll tell you, man, there you go. Woo! Look, isn't that cute? $50. You can just take pictures everywhere you go. I know you got your selfies, but I don't do good with those. So, it's just an example. You're gonna get what you focus on. What you focus on gets larger and larger in your life. It grows, and it can grow to the point where it's just like totally out of balance. It's like if you look at what's wrong with your life, you can actually get to the point where you just hate your life. And you think that you've got the worst life ever, when really somebody else might look at your life and they might actually wish they had your life, because they're seeing the stuff that you quit looking at a long time ago because you're so busy looking at all the stuff you don't like, you've forgotten what you do like. You might marry somebody and you might get so focused on what you don't like that you forgot what you liked about them that caused you to want to marry them to start with.
An addiction to distraction is the death of your creative production. There is research coming out now saying that the average person checks their phone 200 to 500 times every single day. Your phone is costing you your fortune. If you look at the great geniuses of the world, the Shakespeares and the Basquiats and the Beethovens, the great chefs and the great titans of industry and the great humanitarians, all great thinkers have one thing in common. They spent long periods of time away from diversions, distractions, trivial interruptions. So you can be like the majority, being busy, or you can be a history maker and a legendary producer and not being on your phone, not playing with technology every second, not being addicted to that white screen. You don't get to do both. And so the first excellent habit to beat digital distraction is installing this metaphorical tight bubble of total focus around yourself so that you don't let distractions in. Just imagine you have this bubble. It's like a 5-foot bubble around you. It's a porous bubble, so creative things, inspirational things, high vibration, joyful, excellent, amazing people get in, the right spaces get in, and anything that is toxic, anything that is a trivial distraction, which is generally because you have an addiction to it, doesn't get in. And so really it's very valuable to get lost. It's very, most people are available to everyone. The phone rings and they pick it up and they answer it. Well, if you do that, you're letting someone else's priorities run your day versus you running your day by your priorities. Tight bubble of total focus could also mean that, you set up your ecosystem and your environments so that there's no distraction. Tight bubble of total focus could mean that you spend long periods of your day alone working on those 1 or 2 projects that are your Sistine Chapel ceilings. Okay, so set up a tight bubble of total focus so you literally stop letting so much distraction and so many things that fragment your attention into your workday, into your creative orbit, which will allow you to get into a state. Transient hypofrontality is the neurobiological phenomenon that allows you to, if you set yourself up to get away from distraction, you leave your phone and technology maybe in another room, and you simply sit or work on the project that will allow you to change the game in your marketplace. Your prefrontal cortex, which is the seat of thinking and criticism and ruminating, and the monkey mind actually shuts off for a short period of time. That's the transient part of transient hypofrontality. And when that happens, you actually set up a pharmacy of mastery. Dopamine, the inspirational neurotransmitter, is released. Serotonin, the pleasure neurochemical, is released. Your brain waves actually shift from beta and they slow down. They go to alpha and maybe down even to theta, maybe even down to delta. And you actually get to a deeper place of thinking where genius lies. You have that within your brain. But if you live in a world of scattered attention, if you're busy being busy, you're never going to allow the phenomenon that your brain already has, transient hypofrontality, to kick in. Hard times, we all go through hard times. It's really nothing more than growth in wolf's clothing. And the real game of the legend and history maker and titan and hero is growth. It's about taking your gifts and your talents and materializing them each day. And how do you do that? You do that by using every single thing that happens to you, good or bad, as grist for the mill. In other words, using everything that happens to you, painful and poetic, to make you stronger and to introduce you to the primal hero that lives at the core of every human heart. I've gone through some very difficult times in my life, sometimes where I was down on my knees, sometimes when I was so confused, sometimes when I was in the valley of darkness. And one of the things that helped me most, and that will help you as you navigate your turmoil and painful seasons of life, is you say, how can I use this to grow? If you look at the root of the word passion, it is to suffer. The root of the word passion is to suffer. The great ones suffer for their craft. They suffer for their mission, suffer for their ambitions. They suffer for their service. Always be asking yourself, how can I use this to serve me, to make me stronger, more creative, tougher, braver, and more authentic?
Thank you for watching today's Top 3 video. This channel is brought to you by HopeLify.org to inspire you to become the very best that you are designed to be. Remember, a few simple keys, mastered and consistently applied, are often all we need to excel in each area of life. You can help make this channel even better in 3 simple ways. 1. Subscribe to receive more Top 3 videos. 2. Leave a comment below to let me know what resonates with you from today's Top 3 video. Or 3. Suggest a topic for a Top 3 video that you will like for us to feature on this channel. Visit HopeLify.org to post your own inspirational content.